Hello and welcome to Talking Points. Talking Points is our weekly show here at Paxton Road as we discuss all things Tottenham. I am Sam for Life, and tonight's topic is going to be, what do Spurs do with Harry Kane? As we all know, there's been a rumbling saga which has probably started since about April time. Harry Kane mutiny wants to go. Not heard anything officially say he does want to go, but we all know he does. And Man City are looking like his suitors. And I'm joined by some seriously special, talented guests in the house. We have Mike-Hotspur Hustler, we have Spurs, we have Stuart Gallop, and joining us from Tottenham away, we have Shy and Iggy Prince 10. I'm just going to call him Iggy because that's a long name, Iggy Prince 10. But no doubt we'll get into the show. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing? Are we all right? Are we good?
Very well, sir.
Yeah,
very well.
Fantastic. Let's put the banner up at the bottom. So here we go. What do Spurs do with Harry Kane? As we are joined by our Tottenham away lot, why not start at the bottom and work our way up? Just mindful there's somebody who's got something on in the background. If you just mute the mic in case, because there's a bit of feedback. Not sure whose that is, but it's a little bit better now. Okay, right. I'm going to start with Iggy Prince 10, and I'm going to shorten that to Iggy. Iggy.
That's perfectly fine. That's my name anyway. That's all good. It's all good. That's my Twitter name. That's all it is.
That's cool. That's cool. Welcome to Paxton Road TV. Thank you for joining us. Iggy,
pleasure.
Opening gambit. What do Spurs do with Harry Kane? You tell me.
We keep him. Mm-hmm. We absolutely 100% keep him. Yeah. I'm not on board with everyone that says we should get rid of him or very easily get rid of him. We understand the situation. We understand how the player thinks right now. It's nothing to do with the fact that he's chosen this route in the sense of he's doing everything to get out because he hates Spurs or doesn't find. He just realizes that his ambition doesn't match ours. It's very simple. It's a very simple explanation as to why he's thinking it, at least moving on. So I'll do everything we possibly can to keep him. I still think he's the best striker in the land, if not the world, really, at this moment in time. And we should do our absolute utmost to keep him. And I'm not with, like I said, I'll repeat again, I'm not with all those fans that are saying we should just get rid. You don't give up on people like that. You know, we should show that we will do our best to continue together, really. And hopefully he'll be on board with that. Maybe bringing Martinez in will help us in doing that. Who knows?
Andy Georgiou, Don Ig is his real name. Don Ig. Andy. So we've already got your followers in here following you, trolling you already.
Trolls are here.
The trolls are not ever far behind. Shy, welcome back, Shy. It's been a little while. How are you doing? So we're going to ask you the same thing. We're going to go around to everybody. What do Harry Kane do with Spurs? I was going to say, what do Spurs do with Harry Kane?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me back on. It's been a while, guys, and I'm so happy to be back with you guys. I always love coming on, so thanks for inviting me back. Harry Kane, well, I'm with Iggy. I think, we need to do what we can to keep him. I'm sure you boys have heard that there are rumours going around the last few days that there is actually a chance he might be signing a new contract, which is unbelievable.
Imagine.
Really, after everything that transpired over the last few weeks, to hear the rumour that he might be signing a new contract is incredible, really. But listen, at the end of the day, I think we would all agree that the guy's given everything for this club. And for me, it was always a crux this summer. If we hadn't done anything last season, him and Son, for me, were always options to go. And I think a lot of us wouldn't blame him for wanting to leave and going to win things elsewhere. I mean, it's one of those you kind of, well, good luck, mate. And thanks for all you've done for the club. I think most of us would agree with that. Saying that, you could look at it the other way. He still's got 3 years left on his contract, although, it's such a difficult one. You can understand some fans thinking, what he's done, he could have handled it in a better way. You don't know. Again, this is all speculation. Is Charlie Kane advising him in the wrong way? I think a lot of people think that too. But I think it'd be absolutely unbelievable if he signs a new contract after all this, after all we've been through. he ends up signing a new one with a release clause in it.
Yeah, we'll come to the contract stuff because I got that as one of my questions later. But again, I'm not quite sure about whether or not it's going to be a genuine. I want to sign a contract because I want to stay at Spurs, or is it I'll sign a new contract so I can get more money and then you can sell me next year. That will come to in a little bit. Just before we move on to you, Stuart, just a quick shout out to those watching. Sean Snow, Eddie Ryan, thank you for watching. Shout out to Andy George, as I said. Spursy 141. Judge Jody, one of our members here, thank you for watching. Kevin Murray as well. He seems to think we should sell him. Again, Stuart, what's your thoughts?
Well, it comes down to one thing, doesn't it? It's if he's not going to play ball and he's going to kick up a stink, then you don't really have an option if the money and the deal's right. But at the moment, it's really difficult because there's no one clear answer either way at the moment. And this, like I said, we'll talk about that contract a bit later. But if you've got any chance of keeping him, even if it's just for another season to give us a bit more time to bed in a replacement or develop a Scarlet or anything like that a bit more under Kane, then you absolutely got to do it. And it's also just the disruption, not just to the team but to the club, to us, the fans, everything. This close to the start of the season, I just think that would be an absolute death blow to what's been at the moment a pretty positive pre-season. So I'd want to try and do it, like you said, just try and keep anything we can do to keep him. I mean, the moves that we're looking to make, like with Martinez and Vahalovic, they're doing all the right things. It's just whether you can persuade him. If that seed is already in his head, it's just. Is he going to perform? Everything tells me that he's not going to down tools like a Modric or, just decide he wants to walk off the pitch like Berbatov did against Newcastle all those years ago. He seems a bit of a better character than that. But ultimately, let's at least try and keep him for another year and just see where it goes. Yeah,
there's lots of it's so difficult. It's I think you mentioned it there. If the player's heart's not in it, and I don't think Harry Kane's going to lack that professionalism. I think the way that they kind of almost sputtered out with the last bit of press. His what's the word he done? What's the word I'm looking for? His comments that he's made. That he kind of put out there, and he's kind of almost backtracking to say that he's not kicking up a fuss. He's always been prepared to come back to training. That kind of shows he doesn't want to be offside with the fans. I'm going to come to Sid with the same thing. What do you think Spurs should do with Harry Kane? I like them new headphones as well, Sid. They're nice, very nice. You need to wear them for the next show on Sid Says.
Yes, sorry, Jeff. What was that? Yeah. Tomorrow. I missed that. What was that again? Sorry. Oh, yeah, did he score? Oh, my God, I can't believe it. You know what? I agree with everyone. I'm stuck in a situation, right? The problem is, we've had so long what's going on with Harry Kane. A decision should have been made. Nuno's not come out and said what's going on. Daniel Levy's not come out and said what's going on. Harry Kane only just came out last week and said a couple of days ago that Instagram tweet. At the end of the day, I can't see him not putting 100% into Spurs. I think he's Tottenham through and through. And if he's going to play, it will be 100%. All these rumours, all this Sky Sports crap that's been going on, it's just them trying to sell Sky Sports because the Olympics are finished, so they thought, let's pick a topic, Harry Kane. Now, for me, if he stays, it's going to be awesome, especially if we get another striker. The problem is, if he wants to go, then he needs to make it clear and we need to get rid. Simple. No more messing around. You either stay or you go. If you want to go, then fine. Take the 150 or whatever we want for him and get rid of him. Because he should have been back.
Just the thing, isn't that the problem though? Because if City don't offer that 150 and they keep unsettling the player like how they seem to be doing at the moment, then there is no movement. We're not going to sell him for a price that's not what Daniel Levy wants. But if they put in something that's kind of like tempting to Harry Kane, that is, then he might say, well, come on, Daniel, sell me. And he's going, well, that's not the price. Then we've got a little bit more of an issue. And coming to that, that's what I think potentially City might do. They might do something towards the end of the window that kind of appeals to a lot of people, but might not appeal to Daniel Levy. And this is my problem. I think I've got.
But Kane, go on.
just very quickly said, and isn't what Pep said the other day in his press conference, isn't that borderline sort of tapping up Harry Kane?
100%.
Exactly.
It was out of order. It was out of order.
I thought it was like a sort of I forget what the word is, but I don't know, gentleman's code amongst managers, chairman, etc. That you don't talk about other players.
Nuno was like that when he was asked directly about Martinez. He said, "I'm not talking about
This is players." At the end of the day, right? Man City won him. Put your money where your mouth is. Give him what he's worth. That's it.
Put a bid in.
No, if it's 150 million, come back with 150 million or shut up. Don't mention anything. Like Stuart said, Nuno said the other day, what about Martinez? He's not my player. I don't want to talk about it. Just leave it at that, So, and then one other thing, going back, Grealish has come back. All the other players have come back, right? Why didn't Harry Kane come? They've all played the same games in the Euros. Harry Kane should have come back a lot sooner with the likes of Grealish and all them. Look, how has Grealish come back, transferred to Man City, and also on the bench the other day, and yet Harry Kane is still in the Bahamas on a yacht? I wish I could go to the owner's yacht and have my holidays there.
I'll tell you what, Sid. I bet you would have come back earlier if he was transferring to Man City. I guarantee you that.
Grealish hasn't played much in the Euros, has he? He's only
I was going to add that.
Player.
Yeah, but still, you know what? Other players have come back. I think.
But if I was Harry Kane right now, I'd be like, well, there's been all this fuss about Man City wanting me, and regardless of whether the club's going to sell or not, Man City have not made any real intent to sign him. They've already signed Grealish. They've already given Grealish a number 10 shirt, which he plays under at Spurs. It's like, if I was Harry Kane, I'd be thinking, is this the sort of intent that I want? And then you've got the club pretty much going to give him whatever he wants, I reckon, this summer in terms of a salary. I don't see why he should go. I mean, you've got their own bloody fans saying, "Oh, Harry Kane's rubbish. Jesus is better," and all this stuff. It's like,
what? Sky Sports News.
Why are you going?
You keep thinking that. You lot think.
And it's obvious the media have got some sort of agenda, haven't they, against Spurs? Because how long has this been going on? If it's not with Harry Kane, it's with, I don't know, Dele Alli. There's a number of players that I just seen. I just saw that comment. It seems like there's a number of the media have all just seemed to have got an agenda.
I've got to put it up again. Sorry, Mike. Sorry. I think that's aimed at you, Sid. That's Mr. K being cheeky. Mr. K, he's a right one. He's being a troll tonight because he's not on the show. But he's got his own show later on. But anyway, sorry about that, Sid.
That's all right. He's not coming back on 6 days anymore. But yeah, going back to that initial question, I think we should keep him. And first game of the season, bang in 2 goals and tell Man City fans who's better now. See you later.
Yeah, like it.
And I'm going to come and read this comment in from Marlon. Marlon says, Kane's camp talking nonsense. This could or that. They could have been squashed. Time go over statement. 100%. And I think both sides are playing a bit of brinksmanship here. I don't think either side wanted to come out and say nothing for fear of the backlash from the fans, but someone had to because it was getting silly. Mike, just your opening, your thoughts on what do Kane do with Spurs? What do Kane do with Spurs? What do Spurs do with Kane?
Well, I mean, if the issue we've got is if we sell Kane, who are we going to replace him with? There isn't anyone that we can get in the space of maybe less than a month who's going to be good enough to replace Harry Kane and get the sort of, maybe not in terms of the volume of goals, but get anywhere near that volume of goals. No club's going to sell one of their top strikers to us so we can replace Kane. So I'm with the guys on the panel. I'm very much, we do whatever we can to keep Harry Kane. I think he's been misadvised badly by his brother. Because if Kane did want to go, why did he sign a 6-year contract? Who signs a 6-year contract in this day and age?
Without a release clause.
Exactly.
It's basics, isn't it? I mean, we're not
standard contracts.
Yeah,
release
I mean,
clause.
that's what you'd have. That's the first thing that you'd put into any sort of contract of, I'd say, more than 4 years. You put some sort of release clause, but
you know what?
I think
you know what? I think it's just maybe that's down to the incompetence of having. I don't know, and I'm speaking a bit out of turn. I don't know what his brother's credentials are to be an agent. You know what I mean? And this is what we seem to find that people with them, they feel bring the family because it might be an easy job. Kane's probably thought to himself, I'm going to be staying at Spurs for a very, very long time. Oh, they've given me a 6-year deal. I've got 200 grand a week. It's not really that complicated. But this is where agents get paid. You know, the right agents, the right lawyers, the right people, they make your contracts work for you as well as the club. Go on, Stuart.
And that's why Charlie is pushing for this move, because he knows this is the only huge payday he will ever get as his agent.
Very good point.
Absolutely.
Because if Kane doesn't move, if Kane stays at Tottenham for the rest of his career, there ain't going to be a payday for him.
100%.
You know what it is as well, Stuart? You know, in his background, in his office, he wants to upgrade his picture from the Sun and the Mirror to the Daily Mail, I think. That's why he wants that extra payout.
Any experienced agent, as we've just said, wouldn't have let Kane sign a 6-year deal, and B would have just said no, go for 4 years and get a release clause in. But
as I said, I don't think there's a problem with having 6 years. Personally, I don't think there's a problem. The problem is for him, if he's signed that, he has to know the consequences without having the clauses in there. So the consequences are, if you can't win anything with Spurs, you're not going to make it it's not easy for you to then go. Because Daniel Levy's not just going to say, here you go, see you later. It's not.
Because it seems like there's not even, regardless of a release clause, because Daniel Levy would probably put that in at a stupid amount or be very worried to do it. But even having things like, if we don't qualify for the Champions League, if we don't win X, Y, or Z trophy in the next 2 years, the very things that Kane actually came out and said publicly, if I don't win a trophy or something in 5 years or something, I'm going to want to move on. So all of it just boils down to really poor agent work from his brother at the time. Then it could have been someone else at the time. But whoever reviewed that contract has let Harry down.
On the flip side of that, Stuart, though, Kane can't turn around and says, I haven't had the opportunity to win anything. Because how many finals have he been in? And he hasn't.
Yeah, absolutely he has. And he hasn't turned up.
Yeah, he hasn't turned up. So he can't turn around and say, "Oh, Spurs aren't matching my ambitions." We've got you to finals, and you've turned up and you haven't even scored a goal, let alone.
Yeah. The thing is, guys, signed that contract, we've been to what, 3 finals?
The thing is, guys, how long ago did he sign that contract?
2018, wasn't it?
We was in a completely different position back then. I think any of us, because you would have thought Spurs were we're on the way up. So who wouldn't have? I mean, a 6-year deal. I would have, if seeing what he was seeing and seeing what we were seeing. We would have agreed on that contract. It's just how quickly it's changed. How quickly things have changed. It's been. It's been like quite a bit of a.
The length isn't the problem, though, is it? The length isn't the problem for me.
Yeah, the length isn't the problem.
To the club.
There's only one.
He's damaged himself by not putting certain things in place to allow for that conversation. Because that's the problem. He doesn't even have any leverage to have a conversation.
So what
because
I would
not even anything in there to go. Hang on a minute. One of the things, just to interrupt you, one of the things. Iggy's dropped a bit.
Iggy's dropping out. One of the things I would have put in was Champions League qualification. So what they do all the time for players coming in is if they qualify for Champions League, they pay them a bit more, or you get more transfer fee, whatever. He could have easily put something in, provided we qualify for the Champions League year on year from that point. He doesn't even have to put in I need to be released for 250 million, because that's what Daniel Levy would have probably done, something like that silly, where no one's going to pay it. But from Harry Kane's perspective, okay, Daniel, you're going to play hardball on that side. This is what I'm going to do. And that would have ramped up the pressure. We have to be playing in Champions League for me to stay in. That would have been quite simple. And had we done that, he'd have been getting what we've been getting, because he's playing in the Champions League, and an opportunity, because obviously then we'll be top 4. So I can't see how any decent agent and any decent lawyer team would not have something. Just something. Not even like a release clause,
wouldn't they? Any good agent, top agent, would be all over it. The clauses would be ridiculous. I mean, if Charlie Kane hasn't put any clauses into Kane's contract, it shouldn't be Levy that Kane's angered with, in many respects, it should be his brother for the poor advice that he's got.
And that's where the gentleman's agreement angle is coming from. That's coming from their camp or Charlie's camp, because then that's putting pressure under Levy, because the fans will get on at Levy saying, "Oh, you had a gentleman's agreement, you've stitched him up, blah blah blah," and that puts all the pressure on the club to do something. For me, I know Sam was saying we're probably going to move on to this at some point. I do genuinely believe that there is an element of this which is applied to a new contract as well, with a release clause.
Can I ask you boys a question?
That's the only time they can do it.
Go on, Sean.
Is there anybody here that would have a gentleman's agreement with Daniel Levy?
No.
There's only one person
I
who
wouldn't even have a gentleman's
controls.
agreement with my wife.
Exactly.
There's one person
That
that's
says
in
it all.
control right now, and that's
That
Daniel
says it all.
Levy. He can turn this any way he wants. He's just watching the film, and he's just sitting back and thinking, my player's under contract. Man City, if you want to come in for him, show me the money, and then we can talk. He's not entertaining anything. He's not entertaining Kane or Man City. So he's in a perfect position right now.
We're not hearing anything.
The only thing I would say though is, sorry, Mike, go on.
No, go on.
My point was though is that's all well and good, and it's not a case of they're not offering the right money. It's the unsettling of the player if it's done late in the window. So let's say we get to week commencing the 25th of August, and there's about 6 or 7 days left to the end of the transfer window. If they sneak in a deal, and this is what I think they're going to do. Here you go, 100 million plus a player. Is that tempting enough for Spurs?
No, we don't need the money. We don't need the money.
That's fine.
The money is not important for the club anymore.
What if the players then like, well, you know what? That seems like a decent deal. If they throw in Bernardo Silva or they throw in Sterling, they could be worth.
We need a striker, Sam. We would need a striker.
We don't want to
wing
wing
go and get a striker in 5 days? As soon as everyone would know you need a striker, and say, right, do you want Danny Ings, to give you an example? I know he's gone to Aston Villa, but give you a player of that kind. They'll say, right, Danny Ings, 80 million. If you want it, pay the money.
And every club would do that, wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? If they struggling for
It happened when we sold Bale. Bale. We got priced out so many deals, and that's why we ended up getting the Magnificent Seven or whatever it was in the end.
You know what? The other problem
There's another name for that, but anyway.
None of them Man City players want to come to Spurs. None of them want to come to Spurs, and we don't.
They're all on silly money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there's no point, because apart from Jesus, who's a striker, like
and he's always injured.
He's always injured. Like Iggy Prince is saying, none of the other midfielders or anyone we want, unless they're going to give us Laporte or Diaz, then maybe if Diaz is thrown into the occasion all day long.
More players than Laporte.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of players there. I'm going to come to my next question. I'm going to start off with you, Sean, this one. It's a little bit of I don't know how to really put it. What? Does the club owe Harry Kane, or does Harry Kane owe the club? Or where do you think it sits in that sort of spectrum? Is it more towards Harry Kane or more towards Spurs?
Oh, that's a difficult. That's very.
I know
difficult.
it is. I know. I like them difficult ones.
Yeah. Pass. No, I'm joking. No, that's a hard question, because look, like I said, like we've all said, he's still got 3 years left on his contract. So, in terms of gentlemen's agreements that we know doesn't work with Daniel Levy, I mean, he's still our employee. Do you know what I mean? He's still got to do his job for the club. You know, there's no two ways about it. That's what he's here for. That's what he's getting paid for. You know, it's as simple as that. He's still our player, and he's not going anywhere unless we entertain an offer from Manchester City, which they haven't met the asking price. Listen, I'm under no doubt if City come up with the right money, he's gone. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. They come up with the right money, and Levy goes, I'm willing to accept that money. They
have to give us enough time though to get a replacement.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
This was going to happen.
I agree.
This would have happened at the start of the summer.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to leave. Like we're not in that position as a club anymore.
No, agreed.
Where we have to cling on, and we're just screwed over. We are totally different place to when we let Berbatov go, when we let Bell go, when we let Keane go. No way are we in that place anymore.
No,
how much money we're going to be making just from that boxing match, from that stadium, for that one night, from the NFL game. That covers a huge chunk of revenue. And this is without all the match day revenue that's going to start coming in. Yeah. All those projections that Levy had that if they set out at the very start before COVID kicked in, they are going to start kicking in. Plus a naming rights deal, plus the training ground deal. I think there's a lot more money swimming around in the back end than we actually know.
I hope some of that money gets invested in the team, though, Stuart. That's the thing. We need at the end of the day,
70 million on Martinez, mate. We're not going to be bidding 70 million on Martinez if we're not spending money, right?
He's not even worth 70 million.
That's the money. That's the money we have to pay.
He is a quality player, Mike. He's a quality player.
No, he's a quality player.
He is mustard.
Is he as prolific as? Is he anywhere near as prolific as Harry Kane? I personally don't think he is.
I'm not. Mike, I'm not suggesting for a minute that he should be taking the place of Harry Kane. I think we should be playing alongside Harry Kane. Because the amount of goals both Lautaro Martinez and Lukaku scored together last season was unbelievable. If we can get those numbers at Spurs, not only will we be scoring a lot more goals and adding Son's goals, but we'd also be taking the pressure off the back.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let's do a PSG and chuck Son in there as well.
I think I agree with you, Vicky. If you're bringing in Martinez to play alongside Kane, then I'd be all for that. But to bring in if Kane does go, I don't know if me personally, it's just my opinion. I don't know if Martinez would hit the same volume of like the goal ratio that Kane
replacing
Kane.
Replacing Kane is you can't.
But then you bring in Vlahovic as well, won't you?
I personally believe that you might bring in Lautaro. If bring in Lautaro and Kane does go, I think it's like a false nine type scenario. We're gonna have a Liverpool scenario on hand. And I think Son's going to feel that.
I think Vincent Janssen's available, apparently. So I've been told.
Let me just read this comment out from Dara. His brother wasn't his agent when he signed it. His stupidity came a couple years later. If he was his agent, then Kane would have magic beans for goal bonuses. So, and that's probably true because his brother doesn't seem to be doing the greatest. Mike, what's your thoughts? Do you think it's more a case of the club owes Kane, or is it more the other way that Kane owes the club? Where do you sit? Was it firmly in the middle? It could be straight in the middle. I don't know.
I'm going firmly straight in the middle. I don't think the club own Kane or owe Kane anything. I don't think Kane. I mean, Kane's been at the club 11 years now, so I think he's paid his dues in that respect. But I think if he was going to leave, and I think the guys have mentioned it already, he should have acted with a bit of dignity and a bit of respect to the club, and the deal should have happened much sooner than if it does now. We've got a month, less than a month till the transfer deadline day sort of comes. So I'm firmly down the middle. I think the club, I think the club have paid its sort of due to Kane. I mean, they stood by him when he's injured, and it's the other thing as well. If Kane gets injured tomorrow, the club will stand by him and pay him what he would expect to be paid, i.e., his full wages. Do
you know what, Mike? I don't think. I know. He's human. He's not perfect in every sense. I don't think that what's happened this summer should take away too much about him being a total and utter professional. I don't think for a minute if he were to stay, he downs tools in the way Eriksen did. I think he'll hit the ground running and start scoring the goals, and fans will forget very quickly about what's happened over the summer. I just think now we need to come to some sort of agreement where Spurs and Kane can carry on together because he is giving us nothing but his all. So I've got no issue. I've got no issue with Kane per se. If anything, I know you're saying Kane is disrespect to Spurs. I don't think we as a club have matched his ambition. So it goes both ways. I think we need to sit down again together and say, look, this is a situation. If Man City are serious about get your agent to tell them to get their ass in gear and let it happen now, because if the longer this goes on, the less likely it'll happen because we ain't getting a striker in. It's as simple as that.
One thing I want to and I'll come to you in a minute, Stu. When you say the club hasn't matched his ambition, because this is the sort of argument I have with people as well about the club haven't matched his ambition. Are we saying that they haven't bought the right players or haven't? Because we've spent money and we've done a show about that previously. When you spend 54 million on Ndombele,
we've spent money badly, Sam. We've spent money badly,
and I think that's the point. So this is now where we've got now Don Fabio Paratici, who's now in charge of transfers. That might, because that's one of the questions I was going to ask. So I'm probably going to ask it now. What role does Fabio Paratici have to play, if any, in possibly helping Kane to stay at the club? Because we all know that Danny Levy was probably involved in a lot of these transfers early doors, and spending 54 million on Ndombele, spending nearly 40 million on Sanchez, and all the rest of the money that they spent. We can't say we've lacked ambition. What we may have got, or what may have done, is not spent the money wisely. That looks like that might be addressed.
Yeah.
So, go on, Stuart. What's your thoughts on the role of Don Paratici in this? Paratici, should I say?
I just wanted to make another quick point off the back of the Kane thing very, very quickly, because I think the other reason that there is I think a lot of urgency from Kane's camp, not necessarily Kane himself, but Kane's camp, is that they know that next summer Haaland is going to be available for 70 million, and they know Mbappe is going to be pretty much, it seems, nailed on. He's going to be a free transfer. So there's going to be a lot of clubs going after those two players, plus anyone else who comes onto the scene that isn't sort of tied down. So Kane knows that going into next summer, he's in an even weaker position, because no one's going to pay, I'm not being funny, no one's going to pay over 100 million for him next summer at 29 years old and potentially another season of injuries. So I think that's why they're pushing it a bit more this summer. In terms of Paratici, I think he would have come into that club and he would have been working on it before he was even formally employed. He will be putting together the strategy of how Spurs go from where they are now to winning titles and becoming European giants and all that kind of stuff. And it's exactly what he did when he took over. He went into Juventus when I think Iggy might know this. I think he came in when they were still in Serie B after they'd been demoted and stuff for their financial stuff. And he took them out of that and put that strategy in place of how they're going to do that in terms of their recruitment, how they train the players, how the players stay fit, and all this kind of stuff. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do at Tottenham. And I think he'll probably have he'll be doing some kind of presentation to Kane along with Nuno. Like, this is our vision for the club. And then it'll be down to Kane to see whether that's possible. And I think if that was coming just from Levy and Hitchin or something like that, I think it probably wouldn't have gone down as well. But I think Paratici does give us a little bit of a lift, and he's proving it in terms of the signings that he's making as well. So I'm hoping that if he's out saying, look, we're going to get Martinez and we're going to play him alongside you, and this is how we're going to play this season, and then this is what we're planning to do next summer, because he'll be thinking about all of that already, because that's how it works. Then maybe that's what persuades Kane to at least commit to it, because I don't think Kane will extend his contract. I think they will renegotiate the terms, so what his salary is and clauses, and I think that's how they'll placate him by saying, look, if we mess up and we don't make the Champions League again next year, hands up, you can go for the right price.
Absolutely silly to extend it.
That's exactly what I think will happen. And they'll bump his salary up because he'll be pissed off that he's on pretty much the same wages as Ndombele. Yeah, I would be fuming if that was me. If I was in the club and I was on the same salary as that joker, it's an absolute piss take for Kane. So I think he's got a right to try and push that a bit.
I think he's going to get more money out of him. It'd be silly to extend the contract, because obviously if you extend it, you're committing yourself. And I don't see that happening unless he has a specific clause in there. But why would you? I don't think he would extend it. Mike, do you think that Paratici is going to have some influence in possibly making Kane stay at the club beyond the 31st of August?
I think it should be more. It should be more Nuno, because Nuno's the manager. So, I mean, I know Paratici can set the vision for the club going forward as a whole, but in terms of the team, in terms of the players, in terms of what the vision is for the team, etc., and what goes on within the actual team itself, that should be down to myself. I think that should be down to Nuno to have a word with him first and foremost. And then let the likes of Paratici, Levy have the discussions afterwards. But I think if Kane's going to have anyone talk to him first and foremost, me personally, I'd rather it be the new manager. If I was Kane, I'd want it to be my manager first and foremost, having a chat with me, and then go up the chain to see what the vision, etc., is with regards to Paratici and Levy.
I want to come to R2 next. I mean Sid Spurs, not R2. Sorry, Sid. I just got to nail that one because I can see exactly.
You're going to get shut down by Disney soon.
What's your prediction on what you think is going to happen in terms of events that's going to unfold in the next few weeks up until the 1st of September? What can you see actually happen in terms of data? Because it seems like every day there's a little something. Maybe it's a little bit of a brinksmanship. Maybe like I said, Nuno came out of his comments. Harry Kane is now going to be available to play against City on Sunday. What other things do you think is going to come out between now and the September the 1st?
You know what? Just one minor thing before we answer that question. What Mike was saying, why hasn't Nuno still had a chat with Harry? He's been back a couple of days. That his first point of call should have been, let me speak to Harry Kane and tell him what I'm going to do, what my philosophy is, what my plans are, right? Paratici is working in the background. We can see, because that Romero deal, if that wasn't Paratici in charge, that wouldn't have gone through. So he's obviously wants the players that he wants. In terms of what's going to happen, I think there's going to be more dramas on this than there is on EastEnders. It's not going to finish. I can see... I think the Kane situation is going to drag on until the final day of the season, and Levy's going to turn around and say, that's it. You've not put the money where your mouth is. He's staying. Kane won't down. He will not tools down, will not go down at all. No. I think on top of that, Nuno and Paratici will do everything in their powers to get a second striker to play either with him or behind him. We know Nuno wants a second striker. He's already said that I want 2 strikers. And I think they're going to go hell-bound to get that second striker. Ease that pressure off Harry Kane a little bit. Son will come into his own. We've got Gil. We've got Romero. And I still think the transfer business is not finished. Sid says he's going to be on for the next couple of weeks. And I'll tell you what, we'll have a couple of deals done and dusted.
Love that plug, Sid. That was a rolling plug. Oh, no. I'll give you that for that one. Well done.
There's some more transfers going on. But for me, the most important thing is we need to get rid of certain players, right? They need to go. They should not be playing in that team. I know they've played in the last couple of games. This should be now a new era. And I think Paratici and Nuno, even though we're not seeing it, I think behind the scenes, they're showing Harry Kane, this is where we're going. This is where we want to go. And we want you to be a part of this club, and things are going to happen. And please stay. I think that's what's going to happen.
So I think we need to get at least 3 players out at the very minimum this market. But also, I was watching attentively at what Nuno said about the whole Ndombele situation this afternoon, and he had a stern, serious face. Yeah. He looked like he means business regarding that. That's the tone that we got to set. Yeah. Any player that doesn't want to be out, they're out.
Yeah,
I'm an Ndombele fan anyway. I am a fan of his because I think his talent levels are that high that if he applied himself,
I agree with talent-wise, nothing to say.
No problems in that. Application-wise, play him in his right position. He's the sort of player that, and we're probably going a little bit off track, but he's the sort of player you maybe need to build things around. But I don't think we can because he hasn't shown enough for us to do that.
He's nowhere near fit enough. He's nowhere near fit enough. He hasn't been fit enough since he signed for the club. Yeah, and that's incredible. The fact he's not been able to get up to that level in 2 years is insane to me. Absolutely insane.
Although he may be at the fitness levels might not be an issue at the moment. It might just be mentally he's just not on the same wavelength as the rest.
They need to deal with that because you know what, my eldest loves Ndombele, right? But at some point, how long are we going to give him? He needs to start delivering. Yeah. We paid 60 million for this guy, and if you've got issues, then Nuno needs to sit down with him and say, right, you're either a Spurs player or you're out the door. I don't want none of this sulking, throwing bottles in training because Eric Dyer's gone into you. You either play for the club and the badge or get the hell out of the club. Finish.
So let's leave Ndombele because I don't want it to get to him because he's going to get some grief anyway. I'm going to come to Iggy and then Shai as well next, and both of you can maybe have a bit of a chat about this. How do you think all of this is going to affect Harry Kane's performance on the pitch? The biggest thing for me is everybody talks about this professionalism. Harry Kane's professional. Harry Kane's this, Harry Kane's that. But he's human. I think we all know that if he was in a similar type position, You know, you are going to be slightly miffed if you haven't got the move that you want. You're still being given 200 grand a week. That's all fine. But ultimately, as a footballer, you want to play at the highest level. You maybe want to play at a team that's going to give you the ability to win things. And maybe he sees that away from Tottenham. Obviously, he does. Do you think his performances on the pitch are going to suffer drastically because of that? Iggy first and then Shy.
Do you know what? I think for the games, for the duration that we have the transfer market open, I think there may be an element of truth in what you're saying, Sam. I think there will be. Not because I think he'll down tools. I just think it's just human. But you know what? A 70% Kane is still better than a lot of players out there. Let's have it right. And that's what I truly believe. I think the sooner this transfer market gets done, the better. Then he can really crack on. And because don't forget, I know the World Cup's in this, you know, it's in winter, but it is World Cup year. You know, it's leading up to that. So there's plenty to aim for and plenty to play for. So. Listen, like I said, the quicker we can get past this transfer market, the better. And I think Kane, from that moment onwards, he will kick on because he's got Jimmy Greaves, his record is tight. You know, he's got so much going on that why would he not? Why would he want down tools when he got so much to play for? If nothing else, for himself more than anything else.
I'll tell you why, Iggy, because he can get nearly 400 grand a week at Man City. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to.
Let them come forward. Let them talk. Bring it on. Bring it on. If you want to offer the money, bring it.
Exactly. All this talk about Harry Kane is after trophies. Yeah, maybe he's after trophies. But if he was probably going to get less money at City, do you think he'd go? Maybe not. But if you're going to get double your money and a chance to win trophies, you're probably going to do
Come on now. So it's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer. That's human nature. This is why I'm thinking to myself, there is going to be a little bit of something that's going to give in terms of his performance. What I was going to come to Shy first, and you can come on then sit after.
No. I was just saying it's not a no-brainer. It's called De Bruyne.
It's called
Sam. If you want my opinion regarding Kane, I think Kane will leave. I actually think Kane will leave. I think Man City will come. That was my last question,
Iggy. Don't spoil it to the end like that.
Sorry, man. Listen, I think he'll go because I think City will come strong. After the game that we play against them, after that's done, I think they'll come strong, and then it's going to be a resolve. Listen, Daniel Levy is the one controlling things. He's the one that will decide whether he stays or goes. No one else.
Yeah. Sid, was you going to say something before?
No, carry on. Go with Shay.
Shy,
come back.
Shy, just on this then. So, do you think you're going to see 100% Harry Kane effort, 100% Harry Kane commitment, 100% Harry Kane on form as he was last season?
Listen, I'd say yes because of previous experience of the way he's played for Spurs, but you know, these things do affect. Like you say, he's human. Didn't his performance drop last season after something came out against someone towards the end of last season? Something came out regarding.
Not that much. He was top scorer.
No, there was assist as well.
No, there was a particular game where he dropped off after something came out in the media, I remember, and his performance was well under par in the game after it all came out. But again, that just could have been coincidence. I don't know. But in terms of, listen, the guy's professionalism, you know, thus far, other than what's happened this week, I'd like to think he wouldn't down tools, and he'll be the same Harry Kane that we know. I mean, the guy, we've praised him so much for his professionalism over the years, you know, and I just, it'd be so disappointing to see that change now from all our points
his legacy at the club.
Exactly.
Right?
And does he really want to lose his legacy at Tottenham? I don't think so.
No,
because he's not that far behind Greaves' goal record, is he?
Exactly.
So, like, even if he went and came back, I mean, you wouldn't want to sort of ruin that for yourself, really.
No.
Let's go to a few comments here. So we've got a few more viewers. Welcome Eddie again, Ryan, Michael A, Scott M, Reload, Triple X, Double X, 3, 4X. How many of them X's you say there? Darren's there as well. 500 days without buying a player is not made up by spending money on Dembele. Later, hi guys, is here from Sean. The Don can't get Kane to stay. He can't construct a title challenging team for years. So maybe again, that's another thing that's maybe playing into Kane's mind. He's 28, 29 soon. It is going to take some time to rebuild this team to the point. But do you think put it another way. If we get in the players that we want and we're talking about, and we keep Harry Kane, do you guys think, and my answer to this is yes, do you think we've got a realistic opportunity to get top 4 this season? Sid, I'm going to ask you first on that one then.
So, if Daniel Levy and Paratici have been watching Sid Says with all the players that I've covered, and
is that it again?
Is that it again?
He's at it again.
And they get the players, quality players in, and Kane stays, I potentially think we could surprise a lot of teams, because everyone's thinking we're done and dusted. We're in, we're struggling. We're in what's the word? We're on a down. We're going downhill. Whatever. If we get who we need, I think we'll push, and I think we're going to surprise a few teams, and we could get Champions League, and then next season we move onwards and upwards. So yeah, I think potentially, watch this space. If he stays, then we get the players.
Mike, what's your thoughts then? Keep Kane, get the players in top 4.
Yeah, I think if you keep Kane, first and foremost, if you keep Kane, then we've got over 20 goals. I'd say guaranteed, providing there's no injuries, etc. But you'd like to think if you keep Kane, you've got at least 20 odd goals in the bag. I do still think me personally, I think we're a centre back, a right back, a creative midfielder, and a second striker away from being a top 4 team. Realistically, I think. If you look at the team as from pre-season, I know we've played the Colchesters, the MK Dons, etc. But I think I feel like I've already seen progress within the team. I.e., team looks fitter, team looks sharper. We're not playing this deep low block that you saw from Mourinho and going on the counter. We're playing the type of football that us Spurs fans want to see and have been used to seeing over the past years, and I think if the signings we need to make, they need to be clever additions and they need to be better than what we've got. So if we can get them in, then yeah, why not? We've got a good team as it is, and we're only 5 points off from top 4 last season. So if you go on that basis, if we get the signings that we need in the positions that we're sort of crying out for that need to be improved, then yeah, why not? I think we've got a good shout.
Yeah,
Stuart, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think?
I agree.
Kane?
I don't even think it necessarily means keeping Kane, to be quite honest, because I think if Kane does go, there will be a replacement or multiple replacements in for him. I'm under no illusion that's the deal that's going to be made internally, is that we either get the replacements in and they're all secured before, or we don't go. End of. Like happened with Grealish, and he had a release clause to let him out. So that it's a totally different bargaining chip that Kane's going under at the moment. But just sort of when you look at the squad and the way we're looking like we're going to set up. And then you've got the players coming back, like Lo Celso's coming back in. We've got Brian Hill to come back in. We've obviously got Romero to come in. A couple of other additions, like hopefully Tomiyasu and maybe another centre-back, maybe another creative player, if you listen to Sid Says and all that stuff. I'll take my money later, mate.
No problem. Thank you. It's on its way.
I think the only thing that stops us, and I'll just put this out to the panel here, but the only thing that would make me nervous is if we didn't have Kane and we didn't buy another striker and Son fills in the number 9. I wouldn't feel particularly. We're not
going to let Kane go without buying another striker, mate. It ain't
we hope that's the case.
Let's hope that's the case.
I don't know how many times.
I'm not sure.
We're not where we were when we sold Bale, right? We don't need the money.
We're
the 8th richest club in the world. We don't need to sell to buy.
You know what?
We don't need to do it, guys. He ain't gonna deal with the Super League aftermath and all the shit that he's had for the last couple of months, and then go on the deadline of the window. Oh, by the way, I'm selling Harry Kane, and we're not getting anyone else in.
So I think I'm going to just say this: in that interview that Daniel Levy gave, he was very, very much on about money. That's every other sentence was about, oh, we didn't make as much money. COVID's done this. We've got to be careful. We've got to be careful. We've got to restructure. There was so much talk about money that there must be an issue. Now, my point about that is, if somebody comes in, which has got to be City, it's not going to be PSG, it's not going to be Real Madrid or Barcelona, it's likely to be City. If they come in with something that's tempting, even if it's on August the 31st, it's going to have to be seriously considered. I know we're talking about Harry Kane and we can't replace him. But if they put up 130 million, let's say, 130 million on deadline day, I don't know.
If you can't replace him and you can't get Champions League, you're losing more than 130 million.
Right.
And you're losing commercial deals at the same time.
So the point is, we ain't played Harry Kane so far. I know in the Chelsea game there were things in there, but it looks like Nuno's found a system to play without him. Given Son's playing in that false nine, given that Bergwijn's playing a little bit better than he was last season, and we've got Lucas on the right-hand side. Gill's coming in. We've got a new centre-back. He may be able to do something around that, even to go to a 3-5-2, maybe even to play a different system. I don't think having Harry Kane in the team is necessarily a be-all and end-all, but if that money comes in, it's tempting, and then January comes across, I don't know. Go on.
I think in that case, sorry, Sid, go on.
Well, I was just saying, what we fail to realise as well is if you listen to what Pep's been saying for the last couple of days, he's been very cryptic and saying, I want a striker. I need a striker, especially after they lost the Community Shield as well. He's making waves inside, right? He wants a striker, and he's not going to play. He's going to play people in a false number 9 role until he gets a striker. And like Sam's saying, I think lastminute.com is going to be a massive. They're going to come in with that bid.
I do. I think they are.
And he wants a striker. And Pep's told Man City, I want a striker. And he's going to go for Kane. Seriously, it's going to happen. I agree with you, Sam. Last minute, he's going to put in a massive bid. And he's going to put Spurs in the shithole if we don't get replacement.
He'll get rejected.
No.
It'll be suicide. If he sells lastminute.com, we might as well just... Well,
fans are going mental.
It's happened before. So my last question to all of you, and I want you all to give me your honest opinion on it, and we'll go around, and we're going to start at the top this time and come around this way. Okay. On September the 1st, do you believe that Harry Kane is still going to be a Spurs player? And if so, why? Mike, start with that.
Oh, God, me. Okay, I'm going to put my neck out here. I'm going to say he remains a Tottenham player. Simply because I'm going on the fact that there's just how many weeks till September? 3.
3.
Yeah,
we're not going to be able to get a top class striker in that period of time, and the fact that Pep's already kind of, I say, he's disrespected us as a club by talking about Harry Kane and being interested in making a bid, etc., etc. I think that would have pissed Levy off, and I think he would have felt the disrespect there, and that's probably the reason why I'm going that Harry Kane remains at Tottenham, just because Levy will be reluctant, unless we are talking a stupid figure beginning with the number 2. It's not going to happen. It'll be stupid. It'll be like,
so there is. What I'm saying is there is a cost. There is a cost where we will sell, regardless of whether we haven't got a striker or have got a striker. There is a price, and that's
Everyone's
what I'm saying.
got a price, yeah,
exactly. So regardless of whether we've got a striker or not, as to what Stuart was saying, there might come a point, the 31st. Let's say they did put up 150. He's gone then, isn't it?
Nah,
regardless.
I wouldn't take 150.
Shall I slow response to that? I'll go, and then everyone else can go, because I'll just get mine out of the way. There's no way, like I said, unless they're going to offer us 120, 130 million and Gabriel Jesus or something like that, so we don't have to go out and urgently get a striker. That's the only way it will happen. So unless that's going to be the thing that they throw at us late on, cash does not matter, because cash only matters if you can actually deal with the scenario that you're left with after the cash. If we've lost our main striker and our main assist player, after the season has started, because we would have been 2 weeks into the season. That's catastrophic. You can't run a team like that.
Even
so
if we
there's
can
no
go
way
by
they
in
will
January.
do it.
What about January window? That's
6
4
months,
months,
mate. We could be in
Well,
relegation bloody by
it'll be
then.
Never a good
3
window
months
to buy anybody.
It'll be 3 to 4 months come September. So what I'm saying is, we're not in Champions League. You know, we could probably get through the first part of the season with Son playing a false 9, get to January, and maybe, because remember, because we've got no Champions League, it doesn't matter about players who might be in the Champions League being blah, blah, whatever it is, you know, not being able to. I just think there's an opportunity for Man City to really unsettle us by putting in a bid on that last day of the
They've already done it. They've already done it.
Interesting. Sid? September 1st. Is he going to be a Spurs player?
Can I just read you these lyrics? Yeah. Right. This is Daniel Levy, right? Money talks, dirty cash, I want you. Dirty cash, I need you. Money talks, dirty cash, I want you. It's Dirty Cash by the Adventures of Stevie B. And unfortunately, September the 1st is exactly what's going to happen. And as much as I don't want it to, I think Daniel Levy will end up selling Kane for the amount of cash he will get. I don't want it to happen, but I personally think Dirty Cash, he loves his money. He'll take it. He'll take the deal. Seriously,
He'll take the deal at the start of the summer then.
No, he's going to hold out.
Why are we talking about contracts?
That's just paper talk. They've been taking us for how long? It's all been washing the laundry and doing all this skullduggery since day one. And
Skullduggery. I like that word, skullduggery. It's one of my favourite words.
So I don't want him to go, honestly, but I think Dirty Cash, last minute, he'll take it. He'll take a deal. He's going to sell us all out, mate. He's going to sell us all.
Stuart, do you want to say some more about whether or not? Go on, then.
I just totally disagree. I just totally disagree that he's going to be. I mean, everyone, you know, everyone's got the right to call him out in terms of him.
Sorry, we shouldn't. Be professional. We've got to be more professional. Sorry about that, but I had to put that one up. Sorry, Stuart, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a good one. We need to put a little ad at the bottom for him.
Yes, please.
No, all I'm saying is that like the situation within the club and his own situation since the Super League got announced, he's in a totally different place. I totally get the logic of, because of everything that's gone in the past, that he will sell and he'll sell at the last minute because it's money. It makes zero sense, not just from a football perspective, but from a commercial perspective, for them to sell their biggest asset, the biggest name. I know Son's bigger in certain markets, all that lot. Kane is Tottenham Hotspur. So if you're trying to build the club back up this season, you're not going to sell your prize asset on the very last day of the window without having a shit-hot replacement coming in before that. So I just don't see it happen. I see it's more likely that he will get a contract renewal and a clause that clearly allows him to go next summer or January if the release clause is met. It's all about that clause for me.
Stuart, what you're saying, if he's going to get that clause, right, for next summer, no one's going to buy him because that's what you're saying. Mbappe's going to come on the market.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
So, and what Sam was saying, money talks.
Money talks. I'm telling you, I think
you make money off Kane. You make money off Kane being at the club. More money over the next 3 years.
Stuart, I hope you're right. I really do. But we're going to get tested.
Look, at the end of the day, I'll be here at the end of our transfer deadline day deal. That's going to be a bad show for me.
Listen, I hope. Listen, let me say this.
Are you pushing in the queue here? Iggy's pushing in the queue.
Of course.
Shy next, isn't it? I thought it was Shy next.
Go on.
We're doing this in order. It's Shy next. You can
go on.
Oh man, I've got to be honest. Listen, if Kane left this transfer window, I don't think anyone would be shocked. Let's put that straight. But at the same time, like Stuart's saying, it would be absolute suicide to sell him at the end of the transfer window. Like Spurs fans would go absolutely ballistic if he gets sold the last day of the transfer window. They're going mad. And then,
there's a protest before the game on Sunday, isn't there, Ricky? There's a protest I've seen advertised before the game on Sunday. So imagine what it'd be like after that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I said before, it wouldn't be a shock to anyone if Kane was sold this transfer window. But at the same time, I'm on the fence on this. I've got to be honest, because I can see it both ways. I could see him staying. I could honestly see him staying, and I think he will be professional and do his job. But at the same time, if he got sold, I wouldn't be shocked and I wouldn't be surprised. But for the right money, obviously for the right money. But it's a very hard one to predict for me. I've got to be honest.
Iggy, it's your time now.
Right. Let me say this. I hope I'm wrong before I say anything else. I really hope I am. But my feeling is this. I think Kane will go. I think regardless of what protests are taking place, I think Levy, if he wants to sell, if he gets the price that he wants, he will go. Regarding where I think Spurs will finish, we're no more than Europa, in my opinion. I don't top four. This is going to be a transitional season. I think right now we're identifying players that we want to bring in that have a bit of character about them. If you look at Romero, you look at Golini, you can see they've got a bit of fire about them, a bit of fight. Those are the kind of players that we're trying to bring in the club to trying to change the tendency that's been going on in the last few years. And also we need to start clearing a bit of dead wood to try and freshen things up. So in my opinion, that this season is going to be a transitional one. Of course, I hope with all my heart that Kane stays to help us through this transition, because losing those amount of goals will be a big blow for Spurs. I don't think we'll bring anyone in that would match those goals. But as it stands right now, Europa at best, Kane leaving. Kane is leaving at the end of it.
Iggy's told it like it is. Like it is. He's
I hope
not
I'm wrong.
messing
I hope I'm wrong, but that's my feeling.
I totally. You know what? I hate to say it, but I just think the way that Pep came out with them comments, that told me this ain't done yet. So I mean, he didn't come out and say, you know what, we tried, blah blah blah, and that's
He's putting the feelers out, Sam. He put the feelers out. He's letting Kane know. Yeah, he put him out there. He's letting Kane know. Listen, we want you, son.
Listen, we want you. So we're gonna put a cheeky bid in.
He's done it in a disrespectful way.
We want you to put a bid in.
It's disrespectful.
If I was Levy, I'd be sticking two fingers up at Pep and the owners. I'd be like, nah, Kane's a Tottenham player.
You can't put that past Levy either. You can't put it. It all comes down to Levy. I've been saying it from the beginning. It will all come down to Levy, how he takes it. Does he take the money, or does he say, like you say, Mike, put the two fingers up him and goes, you shouldn't have done what you did and you ain't having it, even if you offer 500 million. But you know that ain't going to happen, because Levy's ain't going to happen.
Listen, if he sells Kane, that will show the level of ambition that we have as a club, because like Stuart says, and I think we all probably agree, if you sell your prized asset, who is world class, you're not gonna replace him really and truly for another ready-made.
Not like for like. Not like.
Mike, there's no two without three. This has been a summer of big transfer. Grealish, Messi, and then there's a third one.
Oh, don't say that, Iggy.
Iggy's on fire. He's not messing about.
Iggy's right. Eric Dyer all day long.
No, it's Sissoko.
No, Aurier.
Three number 10s have moved. Three number 10s. Two of them have moved. The third one's on a move as well.
Well,
no,
Kane can't be number 10 now because they've given away his shirt.
I'm saying
That's
Messi
true.
was number 10 at Barcelona. Grealish was number 10 at Aston Villa. The next number 10 is from where?
Fair play.
So it's happening, boys. I'm sorry. I just listen. Don't set your heart on him staying 100%, because the disappointment is going to be even greater. I know.
Look at Stuart. Stuart's holding his head. He's not happy. Stuart's not happy. Stuart, anything to say on that?
What's that?
I'm just saying you're going to be really disappointed, man. Don't try and be a little bit 50-50 on it, because otherwise you're going to get.
What I'm saying is that if they do the right combination, if it's money and a player that can readily come in, what I totally disagree with is that we will sell him at the end of the window just for money. That will not
agree,
happen.
Stuart. That possibility you said about them giving us Jesus, I can agree with it. I can actually. Jesus, sorry. I can say, you know what? Give us the money and give us that striker. At least we're not completely like bare.
Yeah,
because
then you haven't got to go out into the window.
100%.
You haven't got to go out into the window and try and do deals. So if they give us money plus like Laporte and Jesus, then fine. But
I agree. If that happens on the 31st, that could be a possibility, and I reckon that could happen.
Yeah, 100%.
But
the money doesn't mean anything, does it?
No, of course. If you haven't got the players, then you could be relegation. You've got 150 million in the bank, and then you're struggling relegation because you haven't got a striker. It's stupid. Suicide.
I think
because after the window shuts, there's an international break, from what I remember, as well. So if you're getting players in as part of that deal, then you can integrate them into the squad if they're not flying off wherever. But I think that's the most likely thing that will happen.
I think
a lot. Sorry, mate.
Go on, Iggy. You go on, mate.
No, I was going to say I saw Son up front against Arsenal on the weekend. He can't play up front. He can't. He can't play there.
Well, Nuno's already said that
that can't be an option. I'd rather play at this point. I'd rather play Scarlett up there and take my chances with him.
I totally agree with Iggy on that, because at least Scarlett's that's his natural position as a number 9.
I hope he gets his chances in the Conference Cup. I really like to see him playing that competition.
I think he will.
The only thing that might tempt Kane, lead me into selling Kane, is if we get a couple of strikers in this window before Kane goes, then that might be like.
He doesn't need temptation.
Martinez and what's the other one? I'd take that, and then if City do come in and say, well, here's money and here's players, then I'd say to City, well, I only want your defence, I want your right back, and I want your centre back. Whoever that might be, work out a combination, and that could work out quite a good deal for us. But
do you guys not think Tomiyasu is going to come in? No,
I do. I think he will.
I don't think there's I think there's something going on behind the scenes.
I'm going to say this. Tune in for Sid Says on Friday to find out.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I'll say to that.
Right.
I
just need Mike, Shay, and Iggy now to just say Sid Says. Everyone else is saying it, so let's do it.
I just want to read this last comment out here from Derek Hutchinson. I don't care if Kane leaves. We've had all this crap before and came for it. And I think at the end of the day,
very good point.
There is no player bigger than the club. As much as Kane is our best player that we've had in a generation, he's not bigger than the club. No player should be.
No, Sam, you know what? I don't have an issue with whether Kane leaves or stays. I just don't like the fact that people saying I don't care if Kane leaves. I'm man, we should be caring. I'm like, I don't want him to leave. I want it to be known that I don't want him to leave. I just don't like the fact they're saying, nah, just let him go. Just let him go. We can't let him go like that.
No, I agree with you on that. Definitely agree with you on that one. Guys, you know what? It's been a blast, this one, as it's been really good. Before we go, though, make sure everybody watching, there's been a load of comments. Thank you very much for all the comments. Please hit that like button. Everybody watching, hit that like button. It will help us out. All the analytics, get everything to come to you so you can see all our new shows. And as we've plugged many times already, R2D2 in the top right-hand corner is doing his show on Friday. He's definitely doing his show. And you don't want to miss that, because I'm sure he'll have a different headset on there as well anyway.
Absolutely.
Iggy, come to you first. Where can viewers find you?
Right, we're at Tottenham away. With the likes of Shy, Stelios, as you had before. We're on that one, the JP as well. So we'll be on that one. And my Twitter is IggyPrince10, as you can see on written down. So yeah, if you guys want to follow me on that one, and Tottenham away.
And we'll come to Shy next. Where can everybody find you, Shy?
Yes, so guys, we do a show on a Monday evening with always a guest, so that's always a good show. We do all the match reactions, starting lineup, sometimes halftime from the stadium, and hopefully a few things planned as well. And I just want to say, if anybody's looking to hire any comedic talent, please tune in to Sid Says on Friday, because he is the Don of comedy, without a doubt.
I'll be locked in. I
can't. My eyes are watering. I can just about see some of these comments here. Thank you, thank you, Tony. Let's go before this. This is going to go really south very quickly. I think we need to get off here, gentlemen. Thank you all very much for your comments, for your views. It's been fantastic. We hope to see you all again. Again, just thanks again to all the viewers watching. It's been a pleasure. We can't do this without your support. Leave comments in the comment section below if there's anything you want to hear from us, any suggestions. We are happy to hear them. Right, I think that is it. Mike, Stuart, Sid, Shy, and Iggy, thank you very much.
Yeah, more than welcome.
Pleasure.